Alright, so this is probably going to be the most controversial video that I will ever do, given the subject matter, but I don't feel that it would be right of me to just sit on some of this without saying anything. Because in doing research into this story, I don't like some of the correlations that I keep coming up with, some of the stuff that I keep finding. For those of you who don't know about this particular story, Ahmed Mohamed is a 15-year-old American Sudanese Muslim. And he was recently arrested at his high school for bringing an invention of his to school. And this invention was mistaken for a bomb. The police were called. He was arrested and interrogated. He was later released. His charges were dropped, became national headline news, and sparked a lot of conversation about the state of Islamophobia in the United States of America. This kid received condolences from what he went through from everyone, literally even the President of the United States. I'm not making that up. This invention of his that caused all this trouble was a clock he claimed he invented. And the reason I keep doing air quotes is, this is not an invention. I know a lot about electrical engineering. I love tinkering around with electronics and electrics. All this thing is a simple bedside alarm clock that has been taken out of its plastic housing and glued to the inside of a $10 pencil case that you can buy at any Walmart anywhere in the world. That's it. That's all this thing is. That was the first thing that soured me about this story. You know, I've known plenty of people all throughout my life that wanted to become inventors and did so. And they had some amazing ideas. They went out and built these things they wanted to create that they felt would be a benefit to society from scratch. Sometimes they would go and use pre-existing materials to facilitate building what they wanted to create. But they didn't go so low as to just glue the innards of a digital clock to the inside of a box. Now, other things when this story broke that unsettled me about this story were the interviews that were conducted with Ahmed. One interview in particular was from the Dallas Morning News, where Ahmed, in his room, starts showing off some of his other creations and inventions. You know what these are? They're devices like these. External hard drives, USB hubs. And what he has done, he has meticulously, if I can get this open here, taken their outer housings off and saying, I invented this. I created that. In the background of this video, if you take a close look, he's saying he invented this and that while pointing at a motherboard that's been stripped and taken apart that doesn't have any power capacitors on it. Why is that important at all? Without any power capacitors, you can't flow electricity to it. All you're going to do is get electricity directly to the plastic board, which will heat up and melt the plastic. If you don't have any capacitors to distribute the electricity to each one of the different sections of that board, it's not going to work. And that's sparing the fact that everything else that he is showing off is just regular electronics with their plastic coverings removed. He didn't create any of this stuff. He didn't invent any of this stuff. Everything he is showing off is the same sort of devices that are hooked up to my computer that I'm recording this video with right now. That also didn't sit well with me. Another thing that is absolutely major that just way stood out to me about this is when I did some more digging after these couple of things they became very sour to me, that I found out about his father. Now, the current narrative in the news is that Ahmed Mohamed is just some average kid of Islamic Middle Eastern descent that got wronged by a very Islamophobic, fucked up system. He's not Middle Eastern. He's Sudanese. Sudan is in Africa. Most of his family is of Sudanese descent, such as his father, Mohamed El-Hassan Mohamed. Now, we've been led to believe that this is just a regular middle-class family that has suffered a very, very intolerable injustice because of Islamophobia. This is not an average middle-class family. These people are hooked up. Mohamed El-Hassan Mohamed is a Sudanese immigrant to the United States who is a former civil servant to the Khartoum airport. More recently, he has been an entrepreneur and a candidate for president of Sudan, twice over. He is a Sufi Muslim who leads a house of worship in Irving, Texas. In this capacity, he defended the Quran in a mock trial against Christian fundamentalist Terry Jones. He is the father of Ahmed Mohamed, who was arrested and suspended from his attending his high school after bringing in a digital clock that he has assembled. That's from the Wikipedia page. Now, I found a story about his father, Mohamed El-Hassan Mohamed, from way, way back. I believe this article was written in 2011. No, this was written earlier this year. Okay, the other article I do not have pulled up, but this is from February 23rd, 2015. All right. In addition to Jet Taxi, one of the companies his father owns, Mohamed created two other companies, one in America called Paradise Prime Investment and one in Sudan called Al Sufi International for Solar Energy. He serves as president of the Al Sufi Center in Irving, Texas, where they all live. This guy has a taxi company which makes hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year. He owns an investment company that makes millions of dollars every single year. He owns a solar energy project company in Sudan which also makes millions of dollars every single year, and he is a two-time presidential runner-up for Sudan. This is not an average American family. That doesn't sound middle class to me. It certainly doesn't sound middle class to you. His mother is also head of a gigantic PR firm with a very, very dubious history in the fact that every single time I try to look up more information on this, I keep running into a dead end or a brick wall. I can't find out anything about this. It's like most of the information about it has been erased from the internet. I am not an Islamophobic person. I don't have problems with anyone that is of the Muslim faith, or is a Muslim of the Islamic faith. My apologies. I don't have problems at all with Middle Easterners. I don't have problems with Sudanese people. I don't have problems with people of different religions or different races or different anything, as long as they're not shoving their beliefs and such down my throat. As long as they can respect me, I can respect them. Okay? I don't hate. I don't even know if the word hate would apply here. I don't hate these people for any reason, but I certainly do not like some of the conclusions that I'm left to come to. I don't like the fact that the media has portrayed this as just some innocent kid from an average family. No, his family is far from average. How many other people out there are two-time runner-ups for presidency in another country whose parents own companies that make millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year? You know, let me put this into perspective. Okay, he goes through this very fucked up incident. And let's not jerk each other off here. This is very fucked up. But he goes through this fucked up incident, okay? His dad just so happens, to be this two-time presidential candidate. He just so happens, to own companies that make millions of dollars every single year. He just so happens to own a center of worship for Sufi Muslims in Irving, Texas. His mother just so happens to work at a gigantic PR firm. And this incident just so happened to occur to their son, who, in my opinion, and my experienced opinion, has no real idea how to actually engineer or invent something. I don't like the fact that I'm getting the feeling that this was a very manufactured situation. Everywhere you go online, where somebody says more or less the same things that I'm saying here, through doing the research, through looking some of the facts up on these particular people, they get instantaneously shelled by people with hatred. Oh, you're Islamophobic, you're anti-Muslim, you don't like the fact that, oh, this happened to this kid, you don't like brown people. Fuck you. Okay, I don't like the fact that I'm getting the feeling that this is a gigantic deception. That this guy used his millions of dollars, his prior presidential candidacy overseas, the fact that he owns a center of worship for Muslims in his town, as some kind of sway to manufacture something to get people talking. His wife owns a PR firm, public relations firm. Okay, they deal with marketing and advertising, things that do this kind of shit on a daily basis. I don't like the fact that when you take into consideration all these things and you look at the facts, it's pointing in that direction. I don't like this kind of shit. When I did my video on Nicole Arbor, it was the same thing. Alright? She created a video that got a lot of obese people angry at what she had to say, but the sheer fact is that video was manufactured to give you that reaction. It was manufactured to make you angry, to get you talking. She had figured out exactly how to phrase what she said, how to put out this video in a way that would piss off as many people as possible, to direct as many people to it as possible. And this is what's going on here as well. I feel that this situation is manufactured. Things like this can occur. It's very unfortunate, especially in the United States of America in the year 2015. I just think it's even worse that this is potentially a gigantic fraud, and even the president of our country was absolutely deceived. Because you would figure that the president of the United States would know, okay, that this kid's dad just so happens to be this really important political guy in the realm of world politics. Okay? Now, what this guy wants to accomplish for Sudan, it's hard to put down. He wants to do some pretty fair things. Okay? He wants to bring a lot better of a quality of life for Sudanese people. You can't really diss that. I mean, to be really honest, Sudan, as it is right now, sucks. Okay? They have to live in some fucking horrible conditions. And they could deal with a very good president that could bring them a much better quality of life. They could use that, like, really fucking badly right now. I won't put down what he's attempting to accomplish. You know, and he's always advocated for things like that from what I've been able to research. However, if, and like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I don't really get the impression that I am, though, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm getting the impression that if he's going to try to use this, have manufactured this situation, and try to use it to accomplish some political stuff in world politics, this is a really shitty thing to do. To manipulate your kid, to put them in a situation like this, so then when, you know, you're done living in the Americas, you can go back there and say, look at what, you know, happened to my son. I don't want that to happen to people here. You're the guy who kind of put the cards in motion, put the pieces in motion for this whole thing. It's just really shitty. Political people do this. It fucking sucks. They do. And yes, they would be willing to use their own kids in order to accomplish it. Even if it is for a fair cause, in the end, it's still shitty. It's too many coincidences. Way, way too many coincidences. When you look past the narrative the media wants to just jam down your throat, you do your research, okay? Like I said, I'm not Islamophobic. I don't have problems with Muslims, people of the Islamic faith, whatsoever. In fact, one of my good friends here is actually an Israeli American, okay? He's a cool as fuck dude. And if you want to say, oh, you're using a caveat by saying that, hey, asshole, You're the one that would want to accuse me of being racist or accuse me of being prejudiced to somebody because of their particular religious beliefs. No, fuck you. I know people of all kinds of religious beliefs. All right? Religion, race, you know, all that has nothing to do with my opinion on this matter. It's just personal motivation that I'm being soured about here. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole Ahmed Mohamed situation. What happened to him? Screwed up. No one will disagree. It was screwed up what happened to him. But I think that if there is something really to this, and from what I've researched it feels like there is, it's more screwed up as to why it really happened. Okay? There's just too many coincidences. Once you do your research, there's too many coincidences. Anyway, I'm some guy on the internet. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any thoughts and opinions on what I've said here, I'd love to hear them, so feel free to comment down in the description box. And if there's any other videos you'd like to check out of mine, feel free to hit that subscribe button, because I'm not going to say don't hit the subscribe button. Anyway, I'm some guy on the internet. So are you. Until my next video, take it easy.